Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to understanding English with, well, hopefully some useful facts and maybe a little humor too.
Definitely.
Today, we're going to tackle a phrase you hear absolutely everywhere. It's in conversations, movies, books, you name it.
Yeah, it's super common.
But it can still cause a bit of confusion sometimes, right? It's really essential, though, and our goal today, our mission for this deep dive, is to make sure that by the end, you feel totally confident using it.
That's exactly right. We want to give you a really solid, nuanced, and practical understanding of this incredibly versatile English phrasal verb. And that verb is figure out.
Figure out.
So
Okay.
you're going to break it down, look at its different meanings, and importantly, see how it's different from some similar words. Think of it as adding a key tool to your communication toolkit.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So what's the journey look like? Where do we start?
Well, we'll start by unpacking its core components, the verb and the preposition. Then we'll dig into the different meanings it has. And finally, compare it to some other words you might know.
Okay. Unpacking time. Let's do it. Where do we begin with figure out?
Okay, so let's look at the building blocks. We've got the verb figure and the preposition out.
Right. And for people learning, how does the verb figure work in different tenses? Is it complicated?
Good question. And good news, figure is a completely regular verb.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so no tricky surprises. Base form is figure. Present tense, he figures. Present participle, figuring. Past tense and past participle are both just figured. Add the ed, simple.
That makes life easier.
It really does. So using figure out across different times, like figuring it out now or you figured it out yesterday, is pretty straightforward grammatically.
Okay, that's reassuring. Now, what about the out part? That little word pops up in loads of phrasal verbs, doesn't it? Like find out, work out, sort out.
It absolutely does. Out is quite interesting in phrasal verbs. It often carries this idea of completion or discovery or maybe something emerging from being hidden or unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You find out information that was hidden. You work out a problem, bringing the solution out. You sort out a mess, bringing order out of chaos.
Right. I see the pattern.
So with figure out, that out is really key. It points to the idea of arriving at an understanding or a solution that wasn't clear before. You're essentially bringing that knowledge or solution out into the open, out of confusion.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Bringing something out of the fog, kind of.
Exactly, that journey from unknown to known.
But here's where it gets, I think, really crucial and maybe where people get tripped up. We just talked about figure as a regular verb, but
Yeah.
figure by itself means something totally different from figure out, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's a vital distinction. Huge difference.
Why is that little word out so powerful here?
Well, when you use figure just on its own, it usually means something like to think, to believe, or to assume.
Ah, okay. Like an opinion.
Yeah, sort of.
Then.
For example, you might say, I figure we should leave early to avoid traffic.
Meaning I think or I guess.
Precisely. I think we should leave early. Or, I believe. It's expressing your estimation or assumption.
Gotcha.
And figure alone can also mean to be included or to be a significant part of something.
How so?
Like in a sentence, the cost of the repairs will figure prominently in our decision. Here, figure means be a significant factor or be important. It's about its presence or weight in the decision.
Okay, so figure alone is about thinking, assuming, or being important. That feels quite different from problem solving.
Totally different vibe, yes. Now contrast that with figure out.
Right.
The phrasal verb is all about the process of coming to understand something, or finding a solution to a problem, or calculating something specific.
So it always implies effort, mental work.
Yes, exactly. It implies that process of thought, investigation, calculation. If you say, I need to figure out how to assemble this furniture.
You're not just assuming, you're actually trying to understand the steps, look at the diagram.
Right. You're actively working on it. So the key takeaway, figure alone is often about a belief or importance, while figure out is about actively solving, understanding, or calculating through effort, getting something from unclear to clear.
That distinction is super helpful. Okay, so now that we know what it isn't, let's get into what it is. You said figure out is really versatile. What are its main uses?
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground. We can break it down into 3 primary meanings that you'll encounter most often.
Okay, 3 meanings. Let's hear them.
All right, meaning number 1, and this is probably the most common, to understand or find a solution to a problem or situation.
Okay, understanding or solving.
Exactly. It involves that mental effort to get your head around a challenge, a puzzle, maybe just a confusing situation. Imagine your internet goes down,
Happens all the time.
right? And you're checking the router lights, restarting it, checking cables. What are you doing? You're trying to figure out what the problem is.
Definitely. Trying to understand why it's not working. Okay, that makes sense. Can you give us some more examples of this meaning?
Sure thing. Let's run through a few clear ones. 1, she spent all morning trying to figure out why the printer wasn't working. 2, if we work together, we can figure out a way to finish this project on time. 3, it took me a while, but I finally figured out how to use the new software. 4, the detective is trying to figure out the motive behind the crime. 5, can you help me? I can't figure out what this error message means.
Okay, those are great examples. Solving, deciphering, making sense of things. What's the second main meaning?
The second primary meaning is a bit more specific. To calculate a numerical answer or amount.
Ah, okay, so involving numbers, math stuff.
Yeah, math, costs, distances, quantities, anything involving calculating a number. Think about you're out for dinner with friends, the bill comes.
And everyone stares at it.
Haha, exactly.
Yeah.
And someone has to, figure out how much each person owes. That calculation process is figuring out.
Right, the classic bill splitting moment. So it's not just for complex equations, it's everyday math too.
Absolutely. It's about arriving at a number through some kind of computation, simple or complex. Here's some examples for this meaning. 1, I need to sit down and figure out my taxes for this year. 2, can you figure out how much the total cost of the trip will be? 3, the architects are trying to figure out the exact dimensions of the room. 4, let me grab a pencil and paper to figure out the total bill. 5, he quickly figured out that they had driven 150 miles.
Got it. So meaning 1, understand or solve problem situations. Meaning 2, calculate numbers. What's the third one?
The third main meaning is interesting. It's to understand a person's character or behavior.
Oh, okay. So you can figure out people too.
You can try. This usage is about trying to understand why someone acts the way they do or what their personality is really like, especially if they seem a bit complex or hard to read.
Like a mysterious new coworker.
Exactly. Maybe they're quiet, sometimes friendly, sometimes distant. You might find yourself thinking or saying, I just can't figure them out. You're trying to understand their personality or motivations.
Yeah, people can definitely be puzzles sometimes. That makes perfect sense. What are some other ways we use it like this?
Okay, here are some examples for understanding people. 1, he's a very enigmatic person. I've never been able to figure him out. 2, she's been acting strangely lately, and I can't figure out why. Here, why relates to her behavior. 3, it took me years to figure out my boss's management style. 4, I just can't figure her out. One minute she's happy, the next she's upset. 5, he's trying to figure out what his new girlfriend really wants from the relationship.
Wow, okay. Problems, numbers, and people. That really does cover a lot of situations. It's much clearer now.
Good.
But now I'm wondering, how does figure out compared to other words we might use? Are there synonyms that mean almost the same thing, or is it pretty unique?
That's a great question and the perfect next step. Because while figure out is common and quite distinct, it does have relatives, words that overlap or seem similar. Let's look at those.
Okay, comparing and contrasting.
Right. So for that first meaning, understanding or finding a solution, a common one is solve.
Solve.
Yeah. Now, solve is often a bit more formal. You usually solve a crime, solve a puzzle, solve a complex problem that has a definite answer. Figure out is generally more common in everyday chat.
So police solved the case, but I need to figure out how to fix the leaky faucet.
Exactly. Both involve finding an answer, but solve feels a bit more official, maybe, for structured problems.
What about work out? That sounds really close sometimes.
It is. Workout is very close, especially for finding solutions through a process. Often they're interchangeable. You could say, I can't work out how to assemble this, or I can't figure out how to assemble this. Both sound perfectly natural.
So what's the difference, if any?
Well, a subtle one is that workout also has another meaning, to develop or progress well. Like, I hope things work out for you. Figure out doesn't really have that meaning. So they overlap a lot in the problem-solving sense. But workout has that extra dimension.
Okay, that helps. What about just understand or comprehend?
Good point. Understand and comprehend are about the state of knowing or grasping something. The key difference with figure out is that figure out emphasizes the process you went through to reach that understanding. Ah, the journey, not just the destination.
Precisely. So you might say, I don't understand this math problem. That's your current state. But if you say, I'm trying to figure out this math problem, You're highlighting the active effort, the mental work involved in getting to the understanding.
Got it. Active process versus the resulting state. Okay, what about for the number crunching, meaning calculating?
Right, for calculating. The obvious synonym is calculate.
Which sounds more formal again?
It does, yeah. Calculate often implies, proper mathematics, maybe something more complex. Figure out is just the everyday conversational way to talk about working with numbers.
So an accountant will calculate profits.
But you or I would probably just figure out how much we spent at the supermarket.
Makes sense. And finally, for understanding people, is it just understand or does figure out add something special? It adds something, definitely. You can use understand, generally, like I understand my friend well. But if you use figure out about a person, it often implies that it took some effort.
Because they were difficult
Mm,
or mysterious.
exactly. It suggests you had to kind of analyze them, piece things together, maybe because their behavior wasn't straightforward. So saying, I finally figured them out after all these years, implies a process of discovery, like you solved the puzzle of their personality. Understand doesn't necessarily carry that same weight of prior difficulty or effort.
Okay, that nuance is really helpful. It's about the effort involved in getting to the understanding.
That's a great way to put it.
So we know how to figure things out. What about the opposite? What if you can't figure something out? Is there a direct antonym, like an unfigure out?
Haha. No, sadly, unfigure out isn't a thing. Interestingly, there isn't one single perfect opposite phrasal verb. Instead, we use a few different phrases to express the idea of not figuring something out or failing to understand.
Okay, so no single word, but a collection of phrases. Like what?
Well, you could say you are confused by something or baffled by it.
Ah, okay. I was baffled by the instruction.
Exactly. That clearly means you did not figure them out. You remain in a state of confusion.
What else?
Then there's misunderstand it or misinterpret. This isn't just not understanding, it's understanding incorrectly.
Right, getting the wrong idea.
So he misunderstood the directions is the opposite of him having figured them out correctly.
Okay. Any others?
Another common one is simply to give up on trying to figure it out.
Admitting defeat.
Yeah, like the puzzle was too hard, so I gave up on it.
Eh.
The opposite of successfully figuring out the puzzle.
That makes sense.
And finally, particularly when you can't understand a situation or maybe a person's motives, you might just say, it is a mystery.
Like, why she quit her job is a complete mystery to me.
Exactly, which clearly implies you haven't been able to figure out the reason.
So it's more about describing the state of confusion, misunderstanding, or unresolvedness rather than a direct opposite action.
Precisely. There's no single verb that neatly reverses the figuring out process.
Well, this has been incredibly clarifying. I feel like I've really figure out now.
Excellent. That was the goal. So just to quickly recap, figure out is super versatile.
Yeah.
Very common in everyday English.
And it's a regular verb, which is nice.
Definitely. And remember that crucial difference. It's not the same as just figure alone. Figure is more like think or assume.
Right, and figure out has those three main jobs: solving problems or understanding situations,
Calculating amounts.
and understanding people's behavior or character. It really is a conversational workhorse.
It absolutely is. It's your go-to everyday alternative for more formal words like solve or calculate. And as we just covered, the opposite isn't one word, but phrases like be confused by, misunderstand, or give up on.
So practice is key, right?
Absolutely. Listen for it. Try using it. The more you practice with examples like the ones we went through, the more natural it'll become. You'll start using it accurately without even thinking too hard about it.
Okay, so here's something for you, our listeners, to think about as you go about your day. A final thought to mull over.
Ooh, intriguing.
Next time you face some kind of puzzle, maybe it's, I don't know, weird instructions for some new gadget, or trying to understand a new colleague who seems a bit perplexing. Ask yourself, what's my mental process right now? Am I just passively thinking about it, or am I actively figuring it out?
Interesting distinction to notice.
Yeah. Just notice the subtle power and the active nature of that phrasal verb figure out in your own life, in your own learning. It's more active than you might realize.